Hello everyone. The title of today's episode is Handle Life Gracefully. And so before I begin, I would like to share a quote that will open universes for us. It's a quote by a very realized sage, Nisargadatta Maharaj, if I'm saying that right. When I see that I am nothing, that is wisdom. When I see that I am everything, that is love. And between these two, my life moves. A very wonderful quote, and it's signifying more than a conceptual visual imagery, a sense of inspiration towards a new state of awareness to self. You see, every moment we're having an awareness to self. So when we look at others, they may need introductions, but when we look at ourselves, we need no introduction. We know ourselves, we have lived, and it is only you who can access the intensity of the experiences you have gone through to use their patterns in your new designs. What that means is human consciousness is moving to a degree where it is seeing that its clarity is not oriented into the infinite movement of noise. What that means is reality holds many aspects to its sense of being. Usually the human being is oriented to sound and movement. As you become still, as you go into the park, let's say, and just sit still and silent in the nature of everything that is here, by seeing that you're nothing but a continuation of an existential observance that is aware of all things, you will find innately what is intuitive wisdom. It is your sense of collective knowing. It is transparent, transcendental, and it is here. But it does not need shapes. It is an unspeakable aspect of you experiencing all reality greater than you used to before. Do you see? It is not about anyone else. You're climbing this mountain alone. Self-awareness, self-inquiry is the most crucial statement that at last must be broken. When I see that I am everything, it is said by this man that it is love. That is love. So when you go into that sense of being where you are both aware to how you are here, but also how here is kept within nothing, there comes this spark within you, this divine flame, and it begins becoming the mystic inspiration to know himself beyond himself. You see, mysticism is not something that is only for a certain individual. It's not just a human-made concept. Mysticism is the natural intention. What that means is, before evolution got to a point where Darwin could look back, something was inspiring it to move. And the inspiration of that, what mysticism suggests, is that it is profoundly it's an I don't know moment, because it is not based on the senses. So it is how you're aware of sensory perception and how sound, feeling, color, touch, everything, including my words, are just present with you in this moment with your presence. And in an instant you're here. You have always been. Because where else could existence exist? In the moment. For within the moment, there is great understanding. And if you are a being who chooses to consider form, it does not mean you're trapped, but take proper responsibility for the life that is here. And that means an idea is not taking responsibility. You are taking a responsibility to move beyond ideas. You're going and actually for a second realizing that you've been going and trying very intensely to just give every answer, just fight the burn and constantly try to survive. But for an instant, it seems that by not trying to survive, we are aware of all that is surviving. There is a vastness, there is a wave. The drop is no longer alone. The ocean continues to wave. For a wise man a long time ago began talking about the real you. And you will begin to see, how can a human being talk about the real you when he's saying you are not real? And this is where you must understand that everything you have been educated on in regards to external relationships must, in your presence, learn to stand still. For clarity at times meant never asking the question of entrapment. But a being who does question also enables himself to move beyond with an experience of a maturity in reality. What that means is, on some level you might say, I've lived a good life, I've lived a bad life, but on some level Mr.Within says, you have been living as perfectly as you can. You have been living and existentially maturing since your birth. Just raise your awareness. And you must have a trust in the natural world, because it's the same trust that you have with your heart. You trust it so much that it's here. So again, if you are not trusting this world, if there's a bit of drop of hatred that is on you, you must not forget of the presence of, again, the ocean of love. And this ocean of love, at its peak, it's man's greatest understanding after a very deep self-existential confrontation, where you have sat down in front of your world and you have looked, not as man, but as all that is. And you will see that there's a reason mystics are lovers of the unknown, for they are seeking that which is beyond the self of self. When it is suggested to handle your life gracefully, it does not mean that grace is a certain idea, or you should do certain things and you'll be in a happy land forever, you know. Happiness should not limit you. You need challenges because your realities need to evolve. New things need to come in your awareness, and constantly are. Routine is a choice because free will was a choice too. To orient our intelligence in the sense that we have choice among this vast cosmic expression means that man is choosing to take himself aside and be like, whoa, there's such a big world here, whoa. You know, of course, because we're stepping aside. There's an individual consciousness developed. That seems to be the ability of this biological being. But this biological being is somehow transcending into a subtlety and in subtler dimensions of its own abstraction, where it's pulling its evolution. What that meant, on some level, the self-awareness, that moment where man recognized himself in the mirror, was a moment of multidimensional awakening, not only in one plane of existence. Physicality is one plane of existence. How you observe physicality, which is a part of the spectrum of the wavelength of light we can see, that means how much you can confront your individuality suggests how much you are able to understand from your collectivity. And so inspiration is a bright world in that it allows itself to be, for it is. Grace is profound in such a manner. And you shall see handling your life gracefully as a gentle walk. Breathe well, and as Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully says, smile, breathe, and go slowly. Much blessings and namaste.